Hello, hello. The Juicy Life podcast, Anna Malus-Kitzman with weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, thought provocation, all with the goal for you and me to have most fulfilling, most aligned, most juicy life. Let's get comfy here. I put some candles on. I just love to work with candles in my office. I don't know, like fire is always for me like a work energy of action. That's why I always like to have candles. And let's talk about something fun today. Literally, we are going to talk about fun. Like I mentioned before, beginning of this year or end of last year, I did this little list of the things I have learned. I thought it was like more in last year, 2025. But then when I thought about it deeper while doing this podcast, it's really like lessons from last 5 and 10 years that I finally kind of embedded, learn, and live by. And I think we have like two left. I don't know if I'm going to do the last one because, according to Buddhists, you always should leave a couple pages of the notebook not finished. Like you should not finish things fully. Like leave this like an empty space. So, but this one is all about fun and having fun. But before we get to actual episode, let's talk about our sponsors. Main sponsor is me and my breath work that I do in Sun and Moon Meditation Studio, formerly Tiny Space to Breathe. 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. Come in, relax, release stress, release anxiety, boost your communication, boost your creativity. I see breath work like very organic natural psychedelics. It's literally our body releasing substances and getting us to the states of healing, again releasing the stress, boosting production different chemicals and function of the brain. I love it. I can express what a privilege it is to host and facilitate these sessions. And then the second sponsor, onetreeplanted.org, my favorite charitable organization, plant trees all over the world. Plant one tree, plant 100 trees. Again, amazing way to contribute. You can send trees. In my last corporate gig, I sent trees for after some kind of pitch or something to my clients. It was a hit. You can send them as a gift. Again, and create a little bit good karma for yourself and the world. So win-win here. But let's go back to having fun. But before we go back to having fun, I just want to mention to you that I got triggered yesterday. And you know what is my approach to triggers? Triggers are amazing gifts, signs on the road to stop for a second, reflect, look into it, see what's under this trigger, why those emotions were heightened and hijacked. And yesterday I was listening to this book and this man was reading this book on Audible. You know, like I love to read, at night, in the morning, actual physical book. But I also, when I drive or do certain things, I love to pop the Audible. And he was so articulate. His speech was just so precise, so beautifully finessed. It was just perfect. It was almost like too articulated, like too clean, too like. It probably wasn't. I was just triggered, but I started wondering why, and I really, my main point when I listen these podcast episodes is slow down, speak more clearly, finish sentences, finish thoughts, finish words sometimes or syllables. And I really have to work on it with my dyslexia, dysgraphia, ADHD. It's something that I really need to pay attention. This is like my major piece of feedback to myself after every episode. And that's why I got so triggered, because he was just so perfect in his pronunciation, everything, articulation, again, finessing those words, just such a crisp speech. So again, Triggers are gifts on the way, showing you where work can be done, need to be done. Okay, so let's go back to fun. This again, I think it's a beautiful sequence of episode. We had an episode about gratitude, about joy of life, and juicing at life and romanticizing the life last week. And this one is something that I really learned and kind of came back to more because obviously I don't have to tell you that our times are not easy breezy piece of pie, right? There's a lot of things going on. I think there's a lot of people who benefit and want to keep us in chaos and fear, and manipulate those situations those ways. But there is also, just regular life, right? Like economies doing this or that, and environment, and then we have our own jobs and careers and finances and relationships and friendships and parenting, and it's just freaking a lot. And several years ago, I really noticed that I was just so deep into uh, grinding and hustling and just so focused on things that I forgot to have freaking fun in life. You know what I mean? And now I really, this year, I added to my fun bucket being more social and spending time, fun time, consciously creating fun moments with friends and doing something fun. But overall, just bringing this element of fun into the life. I think I was thinking lately why 90s are such a nostalgic decade now, and why we are so nostalgic about them. And I think 90s were this last era of like truly enjoying, juicing life, that we're able to do it. And I think it was also because it was before 2000, right? And we were a little scared, like the switch of the century. And when we are a little scared and we have nothing to lose, we have more fun. I think the same thing happened in between wars. It was just such a fun decade because people came out from one war and some other things were brewing, and they just had nothing to lose. You know what I mean? So they just had more. They were just more free spirited and fun, and really enjoying their life, even in a context what's going on. And I think it's so important for us to do the same thing now. I know there are wars, I know we have issues, I know there are people who are keeping us in fear and manipulating, and I know it's hard, and career and kids and whatnot. But let's not forget to have fun. Fun also is so good for our health. I don't have to tell you. We can ask ChatGPT if you want to, but the from reducing stress and anxiety to creating close connection, like when you laugh with a friend, you like just really feel this connection and just this bond, right? Between friend and you. And then also I was reading like, the having fun and laughing really increases and prolongs the span of life, right? There's a saying that, oh, I laughed, you add like 5 years to my life. Laughter is amazing. Fun, having fun, pranking. Adam can tell you, I am like the Senna is the prank queen, and then I am too. And we scare each other. We call each other with stupid stuff that, like make made up stuff constantly. I remember, when was it? Like, I think last year I told Adam that I am doing this date for us, and that he has to be open-minded, and if he's going to be really uncomfortable, we like our safe word is like whatever, banana. And when he says banana, it means like he needs to leave. And I told him to prepare a towel and swimsuit. And I said nothing else, like pack your towel and swimsuit with you. And then, yeah, and I was like constantly when we were driving, I was like telling him like, okay, if you really feel uncomfortable, like the other couples will be like, weird and doing weird stuff, just again, say banana to me and we are out from there. And he was just like so freak out slightly. And then between this and then the towel and the swimming suit, And then I just took him to drive our future car, to test drive our future car. So yeah, like things like this, you know what I mean? But I could like he was just so stressed about like where the heck she's taking me again because I did take him to kind of some weird stuff already. So yeah, like just things like this. And I think it's also like coming from my home. My father was a huge prankster. He always like was calling from the government, pretending he was from government or from the gas people in Warsaw, or whatnot. I think it was just like it's just such a beautiful way to again to justify your life, for sure, but also so needed, and we can't forget about this part of having fun. Even today, I was like, I got up. And maybe it's not fun, but just this feeling of like excitement and doing something fun today, which I have planned for later. Never mind, I lost the track. What else I want to say? The one thing is that I notice is that highly intelligent people and very spiritual, deeply wise people are always very, very fun and very and have a great sense of humor and joke a lot. And literally every spiritual teacher I came across in past few years, and trust me, there were several. And even when you look at popes, right, or even when you look at Dalai Lama, they always incorporate and laugh and bring this because it's the simplest way to bring joy to everybody else, right? To lighten, shift energy. And what is important is when we laugh, when we joke, our energy goes higher, which means that it's easier to connect with higher knowing, with our higher self, with God, whatever you believe in. That's how I see it. That's how I feel it. Like literally, when we laugh, you can feel that your energy becomes light, and again, it's easier to connect to this higher version of you or higher knowing, or again, God, whatever you believe in. So I love that. I literally noticed, and I was always thinking, even my teacher, my energy teacher, Master Ko, he was always like, all his classes are just like full of jokes. Again, it's this idea of this shifting this energy and bringing lightness to everyone else, and shifting their being, especially as a spiritual teacher. It's so important. um and also when we are like light like this, it's easier to connect to our soul. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, it's just so important to bring this back to have this fun, to again joke around. That's why I love, oh my god, I'm like such a cliche, but I love when people post those videos on social media with some kind of pranks. I just love it because, with everything that we can share on social media, and we share a lot of shallow stuff and chaotic stuff and fear building and manipulation and yet again misinformation. Just posting those pranking videos. It's sometimes when I get one, it's literally, I know how cliche it sounds, like an old lady, but it just really makes my day because again, it shifts my energy. It improves my mood, and it's just like I love people having fun. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like, oh, lately on TikTok there was a trend that women were saying to their fiancés or husbands, asking question like, "Hey, if you were more athletic, what sport would you do?" And they usually ask like very athletic guys, and just seeing these guys losing it. It's just so funny. Or I don't know, this test, like, are you ready for to have a baby? And the women were like putting their chest on their fiance or husband, putting their head on the chest of the husband and or fiance, and then opening their mouth, and they had a little milk that was like spilling. It's like a baby who would have a hiccup, not hiccup, but reflex. And then, the husband's like, "What are you doing?" I don't know. It's just like, I love it. I love when people have fun on social media and share it, because not only obviously have this fun for themselves, but then also bring it to other people, and giving you this moment of like, oh my God, this was just so hilarious. And obviously like comedians, right? Such a like Chelsea Handler, one of my favorite Just such an incredibly intelligent woman, wise woman. Also, I think she's actually very spiritual, even though I don't think so, she believes in anything really. But yeah, like just watching comedy, it's something that Adam introduced me to, stand-up comedy, but also any comedies, right? So just laugh, laugh, laugh. That's my whole point. Now started rambling. Joke, joke, joke. And I know, I went through this all. First of all, I lost this idea of like having fun in life and not focusing on really creating this moment, especially also for kids. I think it's so important to show it to kids like, hey, this fun in life, and having fun in life, how important it is. But also, then on the other hand, it's like, how am I going to be like such a joking and having fun when the rest of the world is on fire or in war or people are struggling, right? And I'm going just to have a fun and joke here. Yes. Again, my favorite saying of all times, two things can be true at the same time. You can help, you can participate, you can have compassion, you can support financially or any other way, your time, your talents, etc. And you also can have fun, because having fun, producing this lightness for yourself and everybody else, produces the lightness and energy for the collective. It does. It does really, our energy really affects people around us. And me, I especially was, thinking about it and going through it. I always bless my street. But I was and protected. But I was thinking about it, living in the big city, especially when we live in a big city and we have this compound, like this compression of all our energies around us, and we are in this like bubble of everybody's energy. That's why oh my god, the whole COVID was just so exhausting, because it wasn't exhausting of like my personal fear, but all this energy, and you felt it too, right? Coming from outside, and we're all being in this crazy energy of fear and unknown, right? So that's why it's so important to have fun and prank and joke, because it's just, again, so many benefits of it, and especially also benefits for the collective. So that's it for today. Until the next time, love and light and juicy life, and joke, have fun, prank your family, prank your friends at work. Yeah, and lighten this energy and lighten this mood.